What role is Russia playing in the Nagorno-Karabakh conflict? From Al Jazeera. Moscow sells weapons to both Armenia and Azerbaijan, but has also led attempts for the battling sides to put down their arms. Two centuries ago, Russia Czars proudly proclaimed that they liberate Armenians from the rule of Ottoman Turkey and Iran. Right after World War II, Soviet leader Joseph Stalin planned to invade and annex eastern Turkey to expand Soviet Armenia and get access to the Mediterranean. Post-communist Russia seems to be following the same pattern of protecting Armenians from their neighbors, Turkic-speaking ex-Soviet Azerbaijan and its closest ally Turkey. And when the festering decades-old conflict over Nagorno-Karabakh, a mountainous breakaway region of Azerbaijan dominated by ethnic Armenian, since the early 1990s reopened in late September, it was Russia that stepped in as a peacemaker. Armenian leaders still think that their best hope lies with Moscow. In recent days, Russia could play its role of Armenian strategic ally. At the highest level, Armenian Prime Minister Nikol Pashinyan said in televised remarks on October 14, "I'm sure it will keep playing this role unambiguously and undoubtedly in the best tradition of friendship of Armenian and Russian people." Armenian observers say that their nation, along with ethnic Armenians of Nagorno-Karabakh, maintains the pro-Moscow geostrategic balance in the southern Caucasus region that straddles Eastern Europe and Middle East. To them, the biggest flare-up of the Nagorno-Karabakh conflict that has killed hundreds of soldiers and dozens of civilians is a mere resumption of Ankara's imperialistic policies and anti-Armenian sentiments that led to the mass killings of Armenians in Ottoman Turkey a century ago. Armenia and many Western nations call the killing of up to 1.5 million Armenians a genocide, while Turkey refuted such accusations. It is the resistance of Armenians that helped maintain the geopolitical balance in the region. Boris Navasardian, an analyst based in the Armenian capital Yerevan, told Al Jazeera, "Otherwise, the world would face yet another precedent, a fait accompli extermination of some Armenians and expulsion of other Armenians from Nagorno-Karabakh and the establishment of Turkey's dominance over most of the southern Caucasus," he said. But the days of Russian Czars obsessed with the return of Constantinople to Orthodox Christians and upending Ottoman Turkey dominance over the Middle East and the Balkans are long gone. These days, the confrontation between Turkey and Russia has no such overtones. Russia has clashed with Turkey regarding Syria and Libya, but another direct confrontation seems out of sight. Russia has clashed with Turkey regarding Syria and Libya, but another direct confrontation seems out of sight. And Moscow's pro-Armenian tilt has not resulted in severed ties with Baku. Azerbaijani President Ilham Aliyev studied diplomacy at a prestigious Russian university, and his father and predecessor Heydar Aliyev spent decades working in Moscow as a top KGB officer. But many Azerbaijanis see Moscow's preference as the main obstacle in settling the oldest conflict in the former Soviet Union. It was Russia that helped occupy Nagorno-Karabakh and district around it, and has all these years stood in Baku's way to settle the conflict peacefully. Baku-based analyst Emil Mustafayev told Al Jazeera, while Ankara pledged to back Azerbaijan, Turkey's linguistic and cultural sibling, until the end of the occupation, Russia seems to be limited to a secondary role. Some observers say Armenia and Russia are part of security treaty of six ex-Soviet nations, which does not include Azerbaijan, that must help each other militarily in case of armed conflicts. Moscow also has a military base in Armenia, but the Kremlin has not dispatched a single soldier to support the Armenians. After the hostilities began, Russia only conducted navy drills in the Caspian, north of Baku, and hastily said that they don't pose any threat, then don't impose restrictions on the economic activities of the Caspian littoral states. Russia's peacemaking efforts have also failed. Two Moscow brokered ceasefires on October 10 and October 18 were broken within hours, but Russia diplomats ruled out of a military solution to the conflict. We stand by our viewpoint. A peaceful settlement is not only possible, it remains the only way, Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov said on October 14. Some see this political inertia as a sign of weakness. Moscow is almost not reckoned with. It appears like a declining power and doesn't show any principles, and it is the principles that play a big role in international relations. Pavel Luzin, a Russia-based defense analyst with the Jamestown Foundation, a Washington think tank, told Al Jazeera. Tolong. Malas. Okay, that's all. Judging by the statement of President Aliyev that a new era will begin in the region after the war, Baku has finally made serious conclusions about Russia's fall, and its tie with Moscow won't be the same, analyst Mustayev said. Nagorno-Karabakh.